Welcome to the Call by God podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm here with my dear friend, Brother Reuben Holloman.
Yes, sir.
You're not only a friend, but you my brother in Christ.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is like another installment. You know, the one thing about podcasting, especially for those that might be listening right now, they might be working out, driving. But for those that are watching on the YouTube station, I gotta tell them to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
I used to always mess that up. I used to say, hold on, you gotta like, share, and subscribe? No, share, like. I used to,
Mercy.
I don't know, is there a specific order that you're supposed to say that?
No, not at all.
So you could say subscribe, share, and like?
Yep.
Or like, share, subscribe?
Yep. Any way that makes you feel comfortable.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm excited about this episode. I know the last time we were on, we was talking about God is real.
Mm-hmm.
And he's showing up real.
Yeah. Yes,
And,
it is.
Yeah, because I think the first time that I actually seen like a decent debate, it was actually on a movie. You know the movie, God is Not Dead.
Yeah.
God is Not Dead. Yeah, that movie right there did it for me. Part one was real good. You know, because after that they end up having like different parts. I'll put that in as well, like in the show notes, just in case if people want to watch it.
Watch out.
Yeah, they don't know what I'm talking about. But this is a real good discussion, man, because there's folks out there that don't believe God exists.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. So before we get started, could you just share with our audience? I didn't even tell you how you doing. Like, how you doing? Right?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
Yeah, because it's like I got so much in my mind that I want to unpack and talk to you about. Because like I said, this is a fellowship. I said, man, and this is how we do it, y'all. We just get in, we just start fellowshipping. Like,
Yeah.
Nah, because I know the last time we talked, but just briefly, could you share with our audience, like, what is an atheist and what is an agnostic? Like, in simple terms.
An atheist is simply somebody who just does not believe that God exists. Atheism is the complete opposite of theism. As theists, we believe that God does exist, that he is real. He is the uncreated creator. He is the unmoved mover. He is the unoriginated originator. God does exist. The atheist does not ascribe to the belief that there is a God. They just wholeheartedly practice their whole worldview is based upon a godless centered view. The agnostic believes that there's not enough evidence for him or her to believe that God does exist. They sometimes struggle with the belief that there might be a possibility of a God that does exist, but at the same time, they just feel that they don't have enough evidence, or science has not provided enough evidence for them to believe that God exists.
Yeah, so that's good. So speaking of evidence, so why is there no empirical evidence for God's existence? Now, this question raises the question of verifiability, questioning why there is no scientifically proof of God's existence. So I know you spoke about, how the atheists, they don't even believe in God. But agnostics believe that it could be a possibility, but based on evidence, they need to see something like, yeah. So why is there no empirical evidence of God's existence?
Well, honestly, Brother Nick, I think the question really beckons the more of a specific question is what tangible, material items or evidence is there to show that God does exist? That's more of what the question is asking.
Right.
Because anytime we talk about empirical evidence, now we're getting into, of course, the field of science. You being a scientist know that empirical evidence is what backs everything that you do, everything that you practice. And of course, when we're talking about an uncreated creator, when we're talking about the unmoved mover, one of the things I like to just even break down, even give credence to is Genesis 1:1. And it's hard to believe any of the rest of the Bible if you don't get Genesis 1:1. But Genesis 1:1, that very first verse gives the whole entire encompassing of science itself. In the beginning, that's time. God, that's force. Created, that's action. The heaven, that's the earth, the universe, and the heavens and the earth, that's matter. Now, if we take just the very first beginning, in the beginning, who started the time clock?
God.
There had to be
Yeah.
somebody outside of time that initiated time. So if they couldn't be within time and start time
Right.
and create time. We know that unless there is something outside of the existence of time, which then we get into eternity,
Yeah. Yeah.
they had to be outside time to create time, henceforth in the beginning. And also, if there was a beginning, there had to be a beginner. And so, literally, contrast is the mother to definition. And we know that science reason from cause to effect. And
Right.
so, time is the effect what caused it.
I like that.
And so, then
like
it
that.
beckons the question, who is this individual that started time? In the beginning. Then it says God. God is the force of all things.
Wow.
Think about that, Brother Nick.
That is amazing, man. And even just listening to your take on Genesis 1:1, as a scientist, as you alluded to, I thought about this question. And even when I think about for the atheists or even agnostics that even posing these questions, because these questions are like frequently asked questions.
Oh, yeah.
That are asked about it because they trying to figure God out, like put God in the experiment.
Come on.
So even like when I think about empirical evidence, I said empirical evidence came about in the 16th, 17th centuries. So this is something that came out during the scientific revolution. So when people ask, kind of like how you said, you went all the way back to Genesis 1, but according to science history,
Yeah.
scientific revolution was really initiated around the 1700s, where they looked at verifiability, like we talked about objectives and observation, and there was like two different type of studies that they pretty much did, and those studies were stemmed from like qualitative data. So when you talk about qualitative data, you're talking about data like from interviews or surveys, or even quantitative data where they're using numerical values to collect data. So during the 16th century, so you talk about individuals that pioneered, were the pioneers of the scientific revolution, like Francis, Galileo, and even Isaac. So these came like way after the Bible, and even like Galileo, he was one of the ones that he was an astronomer, so he was like caught up with the stars and this and that, and then he refuted the ecocentric system, and then of course the Catholic Church didn't like that.
They didn't like that.
They didn't
boy.
like that. They literally put him in house arrest for the rest of his life. So even when you talk about when you went back to Genesis, that's why I like how you went back to Genesis. So if anybody trying to come against like the argument of, okay, why there's no empirical evidence, so we could argue that empirical evidence was stemmed from or originated from the 16 to 1700s, where the beginning goes like all the way back. So they got to go all the way back to what you said. So I like how you pointed out that in the beginning, God created, so in the beginning, which is the beginning time. But I know you really want to unpack that verse, so continue to do so because it's real good.
No, I like what you said, because one of the things that man often try to do is man tries to take their discovery of something in time and try to make it a starting point based on what they understand. And so the thing is, okay, let's just call it like they said, empirical evidence based on what they've studied.
Yeah.
Just because you discovered what you discovered at that point of time does not mean that it has not always existed.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and this is why man has to be so careful, because when God set this thing in place from the beginning, that it has been in motion since the beginning. And God is force. Everything has emotion about it. Time is always moving. We're always moving. The whole infrastructure, our cells through our body is always moving.
Right.
This heart muscle that's pumping is moving. All that's force. Something is pushing that. The winds, it blows to and from. Force is pushing that. We create vehicles. The gas pedal. There's a force. What is a force? You can't see the force, but as soon as you press that gas pedal, something
Yeah,
kicks
that's
into.
powerful. Yeah.
You put in reverse. It's force that's moving everything. One of my favorite things to watch, Nick. I love planes. I love to watch planes take off. I love to watch rocket ships take off. And what is an airplane, although a passenger plane isn't that,
Right.
doesn't have as much of a violent takeoff, but a rocket ship has a very violent takeoff. And when you watch that rocket ship as it's aligned straight up, it's a lot of science that goes into that. A lot of science that goes into it.
Yes.
That rocket ship is standing straight up, but it's a tower that's holding it up, Nick.
Right.
And it's so much forces that has to go that has to propel and be used to send that rocket ship straight up, because it's breaking through gravity, another force that's trying to pull it down.
Mercy.
Nick,
Wow.
that's the same thing even with an airplane, a passenger plane. Man, when that plane gets ready to take off, it starts out slow, but it picks up speed. It has to pick up enough speed so it can break through the gravitational pull, and to lift up or go against. It's a force, two forces colliding to go through the gravitational pull so it can get up out of the air and literally get above gravity so that it can fly across and take you to where. Force is in everything.
Right.
God, who created that force? God. God is the originator force factor.
Wow.
So we have force that is always at work. And I don't want to stay there, but God created action. Everything that we do requires action. There's unseen action,
Yeah.
and then there's action that is manifested within reality. One of the most pronounced creation of our beings is our imagination. There's some action that goes on in our imagination. A lot of action that goes on. And everything that we see around us that's created around us started out in the minds, in somebody's imagination.
That's facts.
They had to imagine it.
That's facts.
And one of the things I've often taught is that everything that we see pen to paper started in the action place of the mind. It was imagined, then it was put on paper. So there is this constant form of action that's going around. Your behaviors, action.
Right.
How you respond, action. In even man, in the things that we do, you cook, you clean, all to the basic thing. You can get down to the very just basic fundamental things.
Right.
All requires action. Who created the ability to act? Because really, when you act, you're just animating thoughts. But it all goes back to a mind that created that mind, so that mind could imagine what it actually manifests into reality, so that it could be seen perceptually, visually within the actual real world, to which we know as action.
Wow.
God created. That's the reason why some of the most unique artists and some of the most great actors,
Right.
man, they're gifted in acting. And it's captivating. And so that's the reason why even action has power behind it. Action has a lot of power behind it. That's the reason why if you respond in certain ways and with certain behaviors, once it has been put out there, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you gotta be careful in how you respond to even your wife, your child, and behaviorally, not just what you say verbally, but even behaviorally, because you could
Right.
say one thing, but your gestures,
Right.
your actions say different.
Right.
And so this idea of actions, man, is something that was also created by God. And then God created the heavens.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
yeah,
go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
one of the greatest studies of humanity has always been the cosmos, the heavens.
So the heavens, how would you put it in scientific? Like, so you said in the beginning that's time, and the heavens will be considered
The cosmos.
the cosmos. Okay.
Yeah. Or the universe.
Okay. Or space. We call
Or
it outer
space.
space.
We call
Yeah,
it space.
Yeah. We call that's outer space.
Outer space, universe, the cosmos, cosmology, the study of the cosmos, universe, the study of outer space, has always been one of the most profound wonders of human study. Because we can't truly understand because we don't know
can't.
enough about it.
So let me ask you a question. Do you believe that's what in the Tower of Babel? That's what they was doing? Because you said something and you said something about our imagination. You know, we start to think certain things and we start to act. Do you believe like that's what was going on around the Tower of Babel after God flooded the earth? Like they started like go all the way. Like what are your thoughts on that? Because I know we're talking about you know why there's no empirical evidence, but I think this still ties in because you're talking about
absolutely.
space. We went from time to now space. So do you believe that's one of the things that they were doing? Their curiosity wanted to go. Like what's your thoughts on that?
So, based on my studies with the Tower of Babel, one of the main things was that the people unified for the purpose of trying to reach God.
Mercy. Okay.
And
But they was going to the heavens.
they was
right?
going
You
up
know,
into the, they're trying to go up into heaven.
Yeah.
But in trying to go to heaven, trying to get to the heavens, they were trying to build a tower that actually try to reach God. In other words, they're trying to get on God's level.
Mercy.
And one of the misnomers of the story of Babel, Tower of Babel, is that the people were unified, but they were unified for the wrong reason.
Mercy.
See, it's
Wow,
one
you
thing.
said something right there.
It's one thing to be unified for
Yeah.
the sake of doing a good cause, but then it's another thing to be unified because your curiosity is driving you to the wrong place.
That's a soundbite right there.
That's the problem, is that sometimes we unify for the wrong cause and for the wrong purpose. And so these people, they unify for the sake of trying to literally get up there on God's level. Henceforth, the consequence was like, hey, these people, they're speaking the same language, and they're unified for the same for this one cause. God said, let us confound their languages. Let us confound the language, and it's much to say about that. One study I did was that the Bible says that when their languages were confounded,
Right.
they start speaking in different languages, their work ceased. And then I almost said something else. But then they stopped the work, they came down, and they went according to the language that they spoke.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, here's the profound thing about it. We get the word culture.
I'm
Big part.
wearing this too.
Heat. Oh, I ain't even noticed that.
Yeah.
I hate that it's the Heat, but I
Oh,
hope it's
come
not
on,
Miami
man.
Heat.
I still love
you. Mercy. But one of the biggest forms of that, one of the big components of culture is communication. That's one of the things that make culture culture. Outside of music, food, and all these other things, but communication, language. So what you have as a result of the Tower of Babel, the people go according to their separate languages, then different cultures start to form. Because they go in different parts of the earth. And the reversal of that comes at the crucifixion of Jesus. This is the reason why the gospel is so important. Not to turn this to a gospel message, but
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
this is why the gospel is so important, because the gospel is the only thing that brings unity amongst a different variety of cultural backgrounded people. The gospel, Jesus come on the scene, and on the day that he's crucified in Rome. Why Rome? Providentially by God, Rome was a power country. There was the power force. Every time Rome conquered a nation, Rome took the best of their soldiers. Rome took the family, brought them in. So Rome military was culturally diverse. Rome was a very cultural diverse place.
Right.
So Jesus is crucified by the hand of a cultural diverse military in one of the most cultural diverse countries, by the hands of one of the most cultural diverse people. Now, with that being said, he said, if I be lifted up, I draw the whole world unto me.
Yes.
Crucifixion was also a world event. So literally everybody
Wow.
is at the cross of Jesus while he's being lifted up. He has the whole world at his hands. And,
Wow.
and literally they don't even know that prophecy is being fulfilled. And so when he dies, he's buried, resurrected, and he ascends back up to glory. Here comes the day of Pentecost. The day of Pentecost comes. Peter and the rest of the apostles get up to preach the first gospel sermon. Who did they preach to? All the people that's from the lineage of the same people that was building the Tower of Babel.
Mercy. Wow. Wow.
Jesus reverses the curse, because at the Tower of Babel, the people went separate ways.
Right.
But when Jesus come, he brings all those
Bring
people back together.
Yeah. Wow. That is amazing. So I know, man, hey, the gospel is something special, man. I still want you to unpack space. And I know I posed that question about the Tower of Babel. You did a wonderful job talking about Jesus, because anytime people get talk about Jesus, we can just go down that rabbit hole all
Yes,
day
sir.
long, right, for hours. But again, it's stemming from that question, why there's no empirical evidence. And I think you highlight some key moments like time and space. And I know you wanted to talk about that time space. I guess my curiosity peaked. I'm like, okay, I remember in the Bible where they were trying to go up there to space. So when people, these people that's agnostic, and they saying like what could you, kind of unpack space for us in this conversation?
So one of the most pronounced things about the universe is that, so I'm big on words, Nick. The universe is such an organized space that it's set up in such an order that it can only be ascribed to have been created by an orderer. So we have, let's just take our galaxy. We're said to live in the Milky Way galaxy.
Right.
Where Earth is fixated at, we're the third rock from the sun. And we are stated to live in what is known as the Goldilocks zone. The Goldilocks zone is literally this area where Earth is in such a specific, precise area that nothing else can explain the precision of where Earth was placed at, except for a divine, perfected creator. Because if we was literally moved just a ounce of less than a milliliter to the left, we'll burn up.
Mercy.
Just a inch, a slight milliliter to the right, we'll freeze to death. But we're in such a precise location
Wow.
that the only planet and in our galaxy where life can be sustained without no assistance of anything is planet Earth.
Amen.
That is the only place
Amen.
where life can be sustained is planet Earth. Now, with that being said, you look at the word universe, cosmos, universe, we get universities. Universe, we also get the word unify. We also get this word union. We get this word unity. So within the universe, there is such precise unity amongst just within our galaxy that it cannot be explained, even by man, as to the specific order and precision by which everything is sustained without life on Earth being threatened. Now, the other thing is that we oftentimes like to, well, let me say this first. The other thing too is that at one time they thought that space was eternal. That was a long argued debate historically. Well, got news for you. If space is eternal, logically speaking, if space is eternal, why is everything else in it losing power? If space is eternal, logically that don't add up.
Right, right.
And this is the problem that I have with people who say, and I had this conversation just a week ago, with people who say, I don't believe in God, but Mother Nature is, and then you know I'm going with this, the universe put this out here for me. And I'm just like, how's that going for you? Because if...
I know, right? I'm trying not to say anything.
Nah, Nick, jump in, because this kind of stuff you hear all the time.
Yeah, I mean...
Jump in, man.
No, I just like how you unpack in space, because I hear all kind of stuff as well. Like you said, Mother Nature and
mercy.
No, but I guess I'm stuck on a thought that how you mentioned that, you know, humans were always curious, and it goes back to some of the pioneers during the scientific movement that were astronomers. And even some of the wise men, even, you know, and I'm not going to get into the wise men was into the stars.
Yeah.
They followed the stars, and that's what baby Jesus Christ was. It was always something about the space.
The stars, the space.
And then so what I tell people when it comes to science, and I know how you're going in this methodical order, time, space, the heaven, space, and of course we're going to cover Earth. But since we're in this section of space, I tell people that God created science.
Yeah, come on.
I said God, like, it's like they try to make it the other way around.
The other way around, yes.
The other way around, which is scientists always exist, then where is God? Like as though God is a scientific experiment. God is not a scientific experiment. So when I hear these questions that people posing these questions, why there's no empirical evidence. And like I said, there's qualitative, quantitative, and then there's actual data. Like, okay, we need data, we need records.
We got that.
And then we could even go further. Okay, data. When was the paper exist? When did we create paper in order to record data? Right? Because people want to visually see something. So in order for you to actually execute a scientific experiment, you need data, you need documents, you need protocols, right? You have to say, okay, this is how I'm going to formulate the experiment, and I'm going to start running feasibility testing, and I'm going to start writing my protocol. This is how I'm going to, until you come to the final draft and you do the experiment, and then you come to your hypothesis and all that crazy stuff, right? Okay, so you need actual records, right? So it goes from, you could handwrite it, right? Yeah. You could either document through computer, Word, whatever documents you want to decide. But if we go all the way back, what they was writing on? What they was writing on? Because we know the Bible was written in Hebrew and Aramaic, and they started like with rocks, right?
Yeah.
God wrote, handwritten the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
Through stones. There was no pen, no paper, and There was any of
Nothing
that
like
stuff.
that. Nothing like
so
that.
when people say, "Oh yeah, why is no empirical evidence of God existence?" That's kind of like saying, like, obviously a person was created unknowingly, like poof, Jesus was created, just like okay, so maybe I should start writing in the stone to see who created me. That does not make any sense.
Nothing.
Like as the
Not at
first
all.
man, Adam was like, okay, I'm just here.
Yeah,
So let me grab a stone, because there's no pen, there's no paper, there's no computer. So let me just grab a stone and let me just start try to figure out or put something, data, documentation that there's a higher power higher than me. That does not make any
doesn't make
sense.
sense.
You gotta start use your logic. You gotta think. We tell
Well,
folks,
see,
you gotta think.
Here's the thing. Okay. To mirror to your point, the Big Bang Theory.
Okay, yeah, go there. Yeah, go there.
The Big Bang Theory simply implies that there was this big explosion. This big
going.
explosion that brought everything into existence out of chance. But there is no explanation as to what brought about the Big Bang. Now, I'm just trying to give it the most simplistic form, the most simplistic way.
No, that's good.
That's like saying, I'm going to take a bucket of paint. I'm going to pop the top of it open, and I'm just going to throw it across the wall and expect some order to come out of it.
No.
The chances of that actually happening is literally slim to none. I mean 0 to none. Now, here's the thing. Even if we were to take the Big Bang Theory, and let's just hypothetically say that it brought about what we are living in. Let's just take it for, let's just go there. Let's play the antagonist. How does the Big Bang Theory account for the organization of our bodies? How does the Big Bang Theory account for the unique precision of the way that your actual eye is made, the way that your ear, down to the eardrum, how sound literally bounces off of it and come out, and that stimuli actually activates a pathway that's created uniquely by God to go within a certain component, a portion of your brain, so that you can actually understand what is going on. How is that you're actually able, with your eyeballs, to perceive specific stimuli around you? Your retina receives it. The image goes upside down in your mind, but you see it right side up. How does the Big Bang account for all that? Let's take it a step further. If the Big Bang is the reason for everything around us, how is it, Nick, that the Big Bang accounts for morality?
Mercy.
What does morality fall on this whole entire record of the Big Bang creating everything?
That's a good point.
If the Big Bang is the way, is the explanation for everything around us, how does the Big Bang account for the absolute laws of mathematics? The logical laws by which we're able to have this conversation and actually understand each other. How does the Big Bang account for this unseen communicative bridge that we have right now, where the exchange of communication is happening, but you don't see this bridge that is connected between me and you? I don't see it, but it's a reality. I don't even want to go into the first, second, third law of thermodynamics. I How does the Big Bang account for the fact that every zebra that does exist, no one zebra's stripes are the same?
That's facts.
Not one. Not even the cheetah. Not even the cheetah marks. I mean, I'm gonna stop, Nick, but I'm just trying to.
No, that's a good point because you know, as we're healthcare professionals, the body is amazing, as you alluded to.
That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to continuing the conversation next week. Be sure to tune in. You won't want to miss it. Stay blessed and see you soon.